Did you all just see what happened? The courtroom not only disrupted the order, but it also disrupted the internet. Camron, as smug as ever, literally laughed aloud in court while Jim Jones's own son stunned everyone by publicly standing with Chrissy. Yes, Chrissy. Mama Jones claimed that Chrissy was the reason the woman at the center of leaked USB drives, courthouse slaps, and whispered betrayals. Now, Jimmy's son completely changed the story, making it seem as though he had just watched the conclusion of a soap opera he had secretly produced. Isn't just courtroom chaos, we assure you. This is a dynasty collapsing in real time, and the cameras are rolling. Buckle up, because what just happened inside that courthouse isn't just history, it's reality TV treason. Imagine this: a courtroom with hardwood floors, stenographer tapping frantically, and the sound of heels clicking down the aisle like it's a love and hip-hop reunion special. But this wasn't just any day in court, sir. We already know that the courtroom has been the scene of a diaper disaster movie ever since. Mama Jones went full WWE and open-palmed Chrissy across the face. We saw Chrissy pull out that mysterious USB stick, like it was her final Ono card as Camron was dropping leaks, like mixtapes, and Mama Jones was launching merch with her. Fortunately, it was just a slap. But this new development, baby, it's a plot twist nobody saw coming, because Jim Jones's son, let's call him Junior for the time being, was supposed to be the neutral party, the next generation heir to Harlem's hip-hop legacy. The one who would keep out of the mess while the adults conned it out. But today he entered the courtroom with his head held high and informed the judge that Chrissy had been the only real person present the entire time. Camron Cam, sitting 2 rows behind the defense bench, sat back with his arms crossed and grinned without smirking, saying, "I knew this was coming, so I brought snacks. Let's break down." Our anonymous source claims that Junior asked to make a voluntary statement during the pretrial hearing, and the judge, who was already over the circus, reluctantly nodded. "I'm not going to keep watching everyone trash the only person who ever had my father's back." Guests' audible gasps, said Junior as she turned to face the room. One reporter dropped her pen, and Mama Jones reportedly muttered, "He's brainwashed." Chrissy didn't blink. Instead, she tilted her head as if she knew it was coming. Now, remember that this is the same courtroom where Cameron's leaked audio accused Chrissy of being a double agent feeding information from inside the family. We believe that Chrissy was cornered in the courtroom, so why would Jim's own son side with her? Let's get into the dirty details. According to insiders, Junior and Chrissy had been secretly communicating for weeks before the trial, not about reconciliation or PR damage, but about protection. According to one leaked message purportedly taken from a burner WhatsApp chat, Junior warned Chrissy that her mother would try to bury her with lies. That is proof of internal betrayal, the kind of behavior that turns a family feud into a full-on civil war. That wasn't messy enough. Additional courtroom documents were filed just days later. Prior to the hearing, it was discovered that Junior had asked to see what was on Chrissy's USB drive, not to defend her. He wanted to make sure he understood the contents before they were made public. Translation: Junior knew the tapes were going to shake Harlem, and he needed to know which side of the explosion he wanted to be on. It turned out that Chrissy had receipts. The USB allegedly contains voice notes from Mama Jones discussing phony real estate ventures using Jim's name, as well as camera footage of her delivering cash-stuffed envelopes to known Dipset associates. I heard that right. There is now speculation that Camron and Chrissy were actually allies and silent partners in a lengthy scam to expose Mama Jones for running Jim's empire like a twisted matriarch in a hip-hop version of Game of Thrones. Junior is finally picking sides. In his courtroom statement, Junior also said he overheard his grandmother, that's Mama Jones, mind you, making plans with a VH1 producer to change the plot and portray Chrissy as unstable. They allegedly had plans to release edited footage and restore Mama's reputation while portraying Chrissy as a villain. The judge reportedly shocked the room with his words. However, not everyone was laughing. A well-known Mama Jones supporter and former Dipset manager posted a now-deleted tirade on Twitter, claiming that Camron always looked at Chrissy like a second mom. Another viral video showed Camron nodding in court with the caption, "When you knew the tapes were heat and bringing popcorn instead of a lawyer." However, Twitter users posted clips of Junior and Chrissy on old episodes of Love and Hip Hop, and the beef even cracked a smile. After court recess for lunch, Junior was seen leaving with Chris and not Jim, not his team, not even a neutral by his side. One camera captured her whispering something to him, and fans are still trying to repeat it like it's the Zapruder movie. The best guess is that you did well. Meanwhile, Facebook called Junior a traitor to the throne and accused Chrissy of Quissy-F, manipulating a boy who still doesn't know what true loyalty looks like. That rant screenshot was reposted because fans are divided and the war lines are solidifying. A representative for Jim Jones finally gave the media a vague statement that, read, "Jimmy's focus is on peace, not petty. He loves his family and wants the drama to stay off the record." Translation: Jimmy is shaking in his Timberlands because if his son is siding with Chrissy, Camron is cracking up in court, and Mama Jones is losing grip on the Dipset narrative. Then this family empire is collapsing from the inside out, and Chrissy is no longer crying. She's winning strategically and in heels. But wait, we're not even close to the climactic conclusion. That wasn't on the USB end. It came directly from Camron's legal team, according to our sources. And just when you thought things couldn't get any more tense, Jim Jones leaned forward, locked eyes with the judge, and said the one sentence that made the entire courtroom a human pressure cooker. The stenographer even stopped typing for a moment, and one of the bailiffs coughed as if he had choked on spit. Mama Jones went viral on TikTok in a matter of seconds. You could almost see the steam rising off her wig as she clutched her pearls, and muttered something so vile that the woman sitting next to her actually switched seats. Now, let's take a moment to explain what happened. If you've been watching this Harlem soap opera from the beginning, you know that Jim's son has never publicly taken a stand. He's always been neutral and out of frame whenever family drama made headlines. However, he is now front and center in a courtroom, defending the very woman his grandmother swore was a traitor to the family bloodline. Within minutes, transcripts were leaked by someone who obviously didn't care. Jim's son not only defended Chrissy, but he also accused Mama Jones of planning a smear campaign. He said that Chrissy was attempting to shield Jim from financial ruin due to lawsuits and from family members transferring money through fictitious LLCs. He didn't name anyone, but he didn't have to. As Camron sat in the back row, snickering like he was in a Broadway play, he took out a bag of peanut M&Ms, put one in his mouth, quote, and made the most annoying "well damn" anyone has never heard in a courtroom. Remember the Cam's leaked tapes? Set off this whole courtroom drama, and now he's watching it play out like a villain in a Tyler Perry finale. Is this petty? Yes, or strategic? Because right after Jim's son gave his statement, guess who slid a manila envelope across the defense table? Chrissy's sis arrived ready like Olivia Pope, complete with receipts. When the judge asked her to elaborate, Chrissy stood coolly and collectedly, saying, "I've kept my mouth shut for years to protect this family, but since the court seems confused about who's betraying whom, let's make it simple." And suddenly, there were bank transfers, emails, and receipts that purportedly demonstrated Mama Jones had established a side business using Jim's name, likeness, and brand without his permission. The worst part was that it was all connected to a warehouse in New Jersey that had previously made headlines. During a 2019 Dipset affiliate, Reed, remember that story about ghost contracts and unregistered real estate ventures? Yes, the same building, but wait, things get messy. Chrissy also brought an audio clip, so if you thought the courtroom was dramatic before, you weren't prepared for what happened next. A phone call between Mama Jones and a renowned Harlem fixer was purportedly recorded by audio that was played over the courthouse speaker, like a mixtape premiere. The voice in the footage said, "If Chrissy keeps digging, bury her and make it public. Listen now." We don't know if the voice was really Mama Jones, but the room acted like it was. People gasped so hard you'd think Beyoncé just walked in. One woman fainted. The judge called a 10-minute recess, and Camron, he stood up, clapped once and whispered, "Plot twist." In the meanwhile, social media was already. TikTok investigators started voice matching the leaked audio against previous reality show tapes when hashtag ChrissyENSORed began trending on Twitter. One genius used waveform analysis to make a thorough breakdown and came to the conclusion that, yep, that's Mama Jones. Same breathing pattern, same accent, same energy. And while all this was happening, where was Jim Jones still a ghost? No appearance, no statement, just a single Instagram story of a candle burning with the text, "Pray for the truth." Back in court, Mama Jones' attorney asked that the audio be excluded because it was unconfirmed. Cryptic, moody, pointless origins. But the prosecution objected and demanded an investigation into what was on Chrissy's USB drive. The judge agreed, and a full forensic review was ordered. This is where things really got heated. Outside the courthouse, a group of Chrissy supporters started to gather. They made homemade signs, t-shirts with her face on them, and even custom foam fingers that said hashtag one daughter in Ladio Camp Macacious. Mama Jones fans, who were older and louder, were armed with folding chairs and laminated pamphlets about family betrayal. The two sides fought like it was the Versus battle of the decade, and police had to erect barricades. The drama had only just begun inside that courthouse when someone played Camron's old diss track through a megaphone. Jim's son wasn't finished talking, so he pulled out a handwritten letter that was purportedly written by Jim Jones himself and was dated 2 weeks prior to the initial courtroom slap. He read aloud the letter, which contained statements like, "I don't know who to trust anymore. Chrissy might be my only anchor in this mess. Tell my mother to stop taking charge of everything." With a pin drop sound, Mama Jones began to fidget with her rings, as if she were about to. Chrissy simply leaned back in her chair with her arms crossed, calm as a cucumber marinated in retaliation, and Camron was now eating gummy worms. The judge finally had enough and announced that the case would now require closed-door hearings due to the overwhelming public interest, potential criminal implications, and social media unrest. Cameras were banned, cell phones were confiscated, and even the court sketch artist was kicked out. But it was too late. The world already knew the story. Within hours, the complete transcript of Jim's son's statement leaked, followed by bootleg audio of the courtroom clip posted on Telegram and YouTube. Whatever dubious Discord server the internet could find, reaction videos were flooding in, hashtags were everywhere. And Team Chrissy and Team Mama Jones memes were trending more quickly than Nicki and Cardi's Twitter subs. By nightfall, Camron posted on Instagram saying, "I kept the files, I kept the silence, but I won't keep taking the blame." The post had a black background and white text, with the caption, "I told y'all, loyalty over legacy." No tags, no captions, just vibes and chaos. Chrissy went live for precisely 24 seconds, without makeup or filters, just staring into the camera. She then logged off. But in the meantime, someone posing as a former Dipset tour member, if the manager started leaking what they called the Chrissy Chronicles, a series of accusations about financial mismanagement, staged fights, and hush money. Dating back to 2013, people are consuming it like hot wings in a hurricane. The question on everyone's mind right now is whether Jim's son is supporting Chrissy. And Jim's own words indicate that he doesn't trust Mama Jones. Then who really runs the Jones legacy? With the court now closed, the next big revelation must come from outside, because if there's one thing Harlem has taught us, it's that secrets don't stay buried, especially when Chrissy is still holding more files. And guess what? That USB wasn't the only one. Late that same evening, while YouTubers were live streaming themselves reading court documents like bedtime stories in Harlem, was still fighting in Instagram comments. An anonymous Twitter account posted something that stopped the internet from scrolling. This time, the contents of a second USB, or rather, the so-called shadow drive, were leaked. What's worse is that we're talking about secret recordings of private emails between Jim Jones and Mona Scott that suggested VH1 producers were creating plots to portray Chrissy as insane and brace yourself. An alleged contract where, mama, it wasn't just a feud. It was a full-fledged assassination of a woman's career. The worst part was that the receipts were too good to ignore. According to the leak, Mama Jones was part of a covert campaign to banish Chrissy from every future love and hip-hop project. And it didn't stop at TV. Emails hinted at barring her from brand deals, excluding her from Dipset-affiliated merchandise lines, and even sabotaging her real estate investments. In the midst of all of this, Camron continued to laugh as he posted another video from Dubai. This time floating in an infinite pool while sipping orange juice and saying, "Some of you really thought Chrissy was the villain. You all owe that woman an apology." Meanwhile, VH1 was in complete panic mode, with internal sources claiming that emergency meetings were being held to discuss damage control. A Condi's letter was reportedly sent to Twitter, but it was too late. Were already downloaded, copied, and embedded in 50 different private group chats, YouTube videos, and threads with titles like Chrissy's Revenge and Mama Jones Exposed. However, let's return to Chrissy because, at precisely 8:30 a.m., while the internet was debating which side to support, she was already deciding her next course of action. There's always been a difference between loyalty and silence. And I chose to remain silent in the hopes that the truth would speak for itself. But now you can clearly hear it attached to a 3-minute voice. The following morning, a verified Instagram account tagged as Chrissy Official PR posted a statement that sent jaws to the ground. Fans were already analyzing every breath as if it were a Grammy performance. And one TikToker claimed that you could hear Mona's voice faintly in the background saying, "We need fresh blood." Chrissy's story is tired, whether it was because of a note purportedly from Jim Jones himself, in which a man whose voice sounds uncannily like Jim's vents to someone named Tone about how his mother turned the entire crew against Chrissy. Cam knew more than he was supposed to, and how he felt like he was losing control of the Dipset legacy to a bunch of irate old heads with personal agendas. The public believed it, whether it was true or not, and that belief completely changed the atmosphere overnight. People who had been disparaging Chrissy 2 weeks prior were now referring to her as the Harlem Harriet Tubman of reality TV. They said she had broken free from the bonds of dubious contracts, family manipulation, and character assassination. Even Cardi B tweeted IB. However, if Chrissy persevered through all of that and brought receipts, she deserved her own show. Now, let's talk about Fallout Mama Jones. After days of vague Facebook posts and trivial subtweets, she went completely silent. Then came the leaked hospital records. Yep, a document that purportedly showed Mama Jones had been checked into a private Manhattan facility for hypertensive stress trauma just days after the courtroom slap. Some fans expressed sympathy, while others didn't hold back. One viral tweet read, "Funny how she was strong enough to slap Chrissy, but too fragile when the receipts hit. Brutal, but Jim's son, he doubled down. In a surprise clubhouse room that maxed out in 3 minutes, he revealed the room fell silent as fans said, 'Y'all only saw half the story. I was raised to protect my family, but my family has to protect you too.' Chrissy had been supporting my dad while those around him were licking his name clean. This was a generational shift in loyalty and a rejection of manipulation. Was a public declaration that sometimes the truth comes from the person everyone tried to silence. And Jim Jones finally broke the silence on the Breakfast Club of all places, sitting across from Charlemagne. Jim, who appeared worn out but calm, said, "I will always love my mother. But something happened that shouldn't have happened." Some things were revealed, and I'm not ready to discuss them yet. But Chrissy didn't deserve all of that. It wasn't much, but it was enough to change public perception, calm the storm, and, dare we say it, set the stage for rebuilding. But rebuilding what? The Dipset legacy. The family. The family.